181 bushfire victims remembered, with the Prime Minister leading tributes. Back in the swim, hundreds of competitors hit the water in the wake of this week's shark attacks. And a Vidmar apology after an anti-Adelaide tirade from soccer's Coach of the Year. The details at 7 o'clock.
This week at 7:30, work less to save your job. The dilemma facing more and more Australian workers.
They just tell us to go home. If you've got holidays, fine. If you haven't, you just don't get paid.
A far, far bigger impact if they lose their job.
No, I don't want to smell your fake tan.
And from the office to the box office, Ricky Gervais goes to Hollywood.
When I'm self-deprecating, it's false modesty, and really I think I'm amazing.
That's this week, 7:30.
From the BBC, two of the most famous classics of Russian literature brought to life on DVD. The BAFTA award-winning dramatisation of Tolstoy's epic War and Peace.
I killed my wife's lover. But why?
And Dostoevsky's powerful drama Crime and Punishment, starring John Sim.
If I'm guilty, then why don't you just put me in prison?
Well, I'm going to, sir.
Enjoy these classic masterpieces on DVD from ABC shops, ABC centres, retailers and online.
We all talk about getting online in the global village, but do you know what's happening around the corner? I'm au fait with what's happening in the hood, thanks to ABC Local. Local news, weather, sports, issues and events. It's all at ABC Local. And you can be part of it. Upload comments, reviews, your videos, your photos to share what you know. It's good. I can be a bit more of a know-all, no matter where I am. ABC Local, it's where you live.
Mum took the emu egg round to our cousins to carve it, but that's another story.
Tonight on the Einstein Factor, a swimming teacher who kicks back with Alice Cooper when school's out, a consultant giving us a taste of Australian wine, and a pharmacist who is glowing in his praise of Marie Curie. Welcome to the Einstein Factor. If you don't like Nobel Prize-winning women, Australian wine or blokes called Alice, then welcome to your nightmare, because that is what we've lined up for you tonight. Would you please welcome our very own Brains Trust, tonight made up of Dr Paul Willis, Dr Cleo Cresswell and Matt Parkinson. Our first trustee is the only man to donate his brain to science while still alive. I say donate because, you know, he's on an ABC wage. Making his Einstein debut is Catalyst reporter Dr Paul Willis. Welcome, Paul.
Thank you.
Now, I read your resume. You are a smarty pants.
Officially, yeah.
Officially. Yeah. Zoology, geology, paleontology, catalyst. I have a question for you. I grew up with the Brontosaurus, which is now the Diplodocus?
No.
No.
It's a Patasaurus.
Oh, yeah.
Essentially what happened was someone described a Patasaurus first, but they described it on really fragmentary material, and it was a juvenile specimen. Later, the same person actually described Brontosaurus on a really big, impressive skeleton. And so everyone got to know Brontosaurus, and it wasn't until later they realised that a Patasaurus and Brontosaurus were the same thing. And because a Patasaurus had become, was named first, that's what they ran with.
Can I use Brontosaurus without being laughed out of the room?
Yes, but you would be wrong.
Wouldn't be the first time, won't be the last. Paul Willis, welcome to the Brains Trust on the Einstein Factor. Our next trustee is a young girl who moves from France to later become a senior lecturer in mathematics and statistics at Sydney University. What are the odds? Let's ask her. It's Dr Cleo Cresswell. Hello, Cleo. The numbers have been named the way they've been named for centuries, haven't they? We didn't get them wrong. Number 1 is 1 and number 10 is 10, isn't it?
The concept of one object
yes, was something that even, you know...
We got right even on fragmentary evidence early on.
Well, I'd like to say that it's actually very interesting that across the world and across cultures from all areas of the world that mathematics blossomed, and that's why it makes me so emotional, because, you know, there were wars and different religions and different all that, but mathematics actually arose as the same, and so it links us, it links humanity together.
Cleo Cresswell, I totally get it. Welcome back, Cleo. This man spent the off-season investigating cheese dreams. Here to explain himself is Matt Parkinson. Welcome back, Parkinson.
Thank you very much.
Please explain.
Cheese dreams, as we all know, are like normal dreams, but they are augmented by consuming cheese before you go to sleep. I've recently put together a group of creative comedy minds, one of whom, the excellent comedian Dave Kellen, described Baz Luhrmann's movie Australia as Baz having sat down for a day, watched all his favourite DVDs, then ate some cheese, went to bed, had a weird cheese dream, woke up, wrote it all down, and that's where the movie screenplay came from.
Are you studying on mice? Because they are, you know, big fans of your cheese. Would you do...
But they're not big dreamers, mice. I don't know whether you knew that at all. I know that you grew up with a brontosaurus. How old are you exactly, Pete? You say that I need to explain myself, but...
There's a lot to do with makeup. It's makeup and lighting that
You've had some work done in the off-season.
Young and fresh. Matt Parkinson, bringing his cheese dreams to us. It's great to have you all back with us. Now let's meet the contestants. Tonight's first contestant is David Stairs. Please make him welcome. A swimming instructor, self-taught harmonica player and musical theatre buff from Victoria who specialises in dame roles. David, what is your special subject for us?
The lives and music of Alice Cooper.
Well, OK. And this is Alice Cooper, the
band and the solo artist.
Right. Because I did not know that until I came to study up on your special subject. In fact, yeah, the band and the man. Mm-hmm. Right. And the musical theatre?
That's just, you know, fun.
A hobby? Just get out of the house and dress up as a woman?
Yeah.
Excellent work. What's your favourite role dressed as a woman?
I don't know. Anywhere I get to do the can-can.
Really? All right, look, if we have time, I know. If we have... Stop ringing, I know. I'm way ahead of you. All right, David. Lives and music of Alice Cooper. Good luck. Your 90 seconds begin now. Alice Cooper was born on February the 4th, 1948, in which major US city?
Detroit.
Correct. What is the full three-word original name of Alice Cooper?
Vincent Damon Furnier.
Correct. Released in 1975, what concept album was Alice Cooper's first solo LP?
Welcome to My Nightmare.
Correct. The 9th track on that album has the title of which character? A disturbed boy.
Stephen.
Correct. While at school in Phoenix, Arizona, Cooper formed his band that had what two creepy crawlies for early names?
The Spiders and the Earwigs.
Correct. Born in Cottage Grove, Oregon, was which member of the band who played bass?
Dennis Dunaway.
Correct. Topping the charts in Britain and reaching top 10 in America, what was the band's first major hit single?
Clones.
School's Out. Which US president is named in the lyrics to the song Department of Youth?
Pass.
Eisenhower. Legend long had it that the band acquired its ultimate name from a Ouija board session that revealed Cooper was the reincarnation of a 17th century what?
Witch.
Correct. When Cooper went solo, the other band members formed what new outfit bearing one of their albums?
Billion Dollar Babies.
Correct. The album Songs in the Key of X includes a duet by Cooper and a member of which heavy metal band?
Pass.
White Zombie. Long a co-star of Cooper's live act before being killed by a rat, its intended breakfast was what species of snake?
Pass.
Boa Constrictor. Eventually included in his Muscle of Love album was which track intended but rejected as the theme song for a James Bond film?
Man with the Golden Gun.
Correct. First hitting the airwaves in January 2004 was which radio show hosted by
Nights
Cooper?
with Alice Cooper.
Correct. Hallowed Be My Name and Black Juju are tracks originally appearing on which studio album? Love It to Death is the answer. 1,000 points, David. Well done. All right, let's see, David. We have the bonus question still intact this year. True or false? I will ask the question. You can decide if you want to employ the Brains Trust to answer it for you. Possible 200 points there if they get it correct. 100 if you choose to go yourself and you get it correct. Alice Cooper managed to overcome his addiction to alcohol by forming an addiction to tennis. True or false, David? How do you want to play it?
I'll hand it over to the Brains Trust.
All right, Brains Trust. Alice Cooper managed to overcome his addiction to alcohol by forming an addiction to tennis. True or false?
Look, it's common to replace an addiction with another, but tennis, and look at him.
That's just plain silly.
And look at him, he doesn't look Great fit.
Doesn't look the other.
Actually, one of my best mates is a massive Alice Cooper fan, and he persuaded me that we should both take up the game of golf because it had saved Alice from alcoholism. So I don't think it's
false.
tennis. So that makes it a false, yes.
It's false. Brace Trust is saying it's false. Parker says it was golf. What would you say, David?
False.
Correct. False it is. David score now 1,200 points. Please make welcome our next contestant tonight, Norrelle Goldring, a retail strategy consultant from New South Wales who has caddied golf in Japan, played piano on Bert Newton's New Faces and visited close to a third of Australia's 1,600 wineries. Welcome, Norrelle.
Hi.
Your special subject for us?
Australian wine and wine regions.
All right, a third of 1,600. Do you plan on visiting all 1,600?
Well, there's only about 1,100 that you can actually see because the other 500 are by appointment only.
Do you have a favourite wine?
Depends on the region, the variety and the situation, I think. Many favourites in other words.
Yeah, many favourites. Good for you. All right, Norrelle, Australian wines and wine regions is your special subject. Good luck. Your 90 seconds begin now. Named after a battle fought in Europe is which important wine-growing region just northeast of Adelaide?
Barossa.
Correct. Which major Australian wine grape is elsewhere in the world known as Syrah?
Shiraz.
Correct. First produced in 1951 by winemaker Max Schubert, was Australia's most famous wine. Penfolds what?
Grange.
Correct. Which tiny town near Wangaratta, Victoria is home to the first Brown Brothers vineyard?
Millawa.
Correct. What is by far the most widely planted white grape variety in Australia?
Chardonnay.
Correct. Bringing to Australia in the early 1830s a large selection of grape varieties from Europe was the so-called father of Australia's wine industry, James who?
Busby.
Correct. The Shiraz produced by Wyndham Estate Wines is designated as bin what number?
444.
555. Produced by Lindemans was what semi-sweet white wine hugely popular here in the 1960s and 70s?
Bin TR2.
Benin Moselle. Cabernet Sauvignon is the flagship wine of which South Australian region famous for its free-draining Terra Rossa soil?
Coonawarra.
Correct. After a career in coffee trading, who founded the Rosemount Estate Winery in the Hunter Valley in 1969?
Pass.
Bob Oatley. Which white grape variety was for a long time known as Hunter River Riesling?
Semillon.
Correct. Which vintage Grange was named a Red Wine of the Year by prestigious US magazine Wine Spectator in 1995?
1990.
Correct. Because of the white grape variety is the most important grown there, which region is regarded as the Australian home of Riesling?
Clare.
More information?
Clare Valley.
Correct. Well done, Norrelle. 1,000 points. Well done. Bonus question time. The one for the road, so to speak. True or false? Yearing Station, a winery in the Yarra Valley, was founded by ancestors of runner Steve Monaghetti. True or false, Norrelle? What do you want to do?
I'll throw that to the Brains Trust.
All right, Brains, true or false?
Been to Yearing Station, had some lovely long lunches there. Didn't see anyone doing laps around the dam or anything.
Is it a long way from anywhere, so you'd have to, like, take up running?
Yeah. But
Well,
Steve's a Ballarat guy.
Did you say Steve ancestors? You think they'd keep the name?
Should we just...
Technically, we're all related, so there must be ancestors in there somewhere.
We'll say true.
Fix it.
We'll say true on the grounds that Paul says we're all related.
We're all related.
You're the captain.
Yes.
All right, they're saying it's true, Norrelle. What would you have said?
I'm not sure. St Hubert's was the De Castellas.
Well, the Brains Trust said true. Unfortunately, the answer is false.
Okay.
It was, in fact, bought and developed by ancestors of Robert de Castello.
Stella.
Well, there you are, Norrelle. 1,000 points at the end of round one. Well done. Let's meet our final contestant for tonight. Please welcome Steve Farrell, a pharmacist from Parkes, New South Wales, who on his honeymoon with his Polish wife visited the birthplace of his very famous Polish and French subject. Welcome, Stephen.
Hello, Peter.
And who is this very famous Polish and French subject of yours?
Marie Curie.
When did the fascination with Marie Curie begin?
Well, she's Polish and my wife is from a Polish family, so...
So you were just out to impress your missus?
Partly.
The life and career of Marie Curie. Good luck. Your 90 seconds begin now. Marie Curie was born in Warsaw, Poland on November the 7th of which year?
1867.
Correct. Curie was born with what two-word Polish name?
Maria Skłodowska.
Correct. Curie became the first person to earn 2 Nobel Prizes when she won in which 2 categories?
Chemistry and physics.
Correct. Curie moved to Paris, where she soon began studying at the Sorbonne in which year?
1891.
Correct. In the early 1890s, Curie began working in the research laboratory of which physicist and mentor born in Luxembourg?
Gabriel Lippmann.
Correct. Having been drawn together by their mutual interest in magnetism, Marie married Pierre Curie in which month of 1895?
July.
Correct. One named in honour of her native country. Which two chemical elements did Curie and her husband discover?
Polonium and radium.
Correct. On Curie's triumphant visit to America in 1921, President Harding presented her with a gift of how many grams of radium?
1 gram.
Correct. Born in 1897 and 1904 were which two daughters of Marie and Pierre Curie?
Irene and Eve.
Correct. Curie and her husband shared the 1903 Nobel Prize for Physics with which scientist, the discoverer of radioactivity?
Henry Becquerel.
Correct. The Curies discovered the elements polonium and radium in what black mineral, a primary ore of uranium?
Pitch blende.
Correct. How old was Marie Curie when her husband was run over by a horse-drawn vehicle and killed?
28.
38. In 1900, Curie was appointed lecturer in physics at a school for girls at which famous centre for porcelain?
École Seriers.
Correct. What honour was awarded to the Curies by the Royal Society in 1903? The answer is the Davy Medal. Stephen, 1,200 points. Bonus question time. Here we go. It's true or false, Stephen? Marie Curie actually coined the term radioactivity. True or false, Stephen? What do you want to do? Brains Trust is...
I'll go to the Brains Trust.
Are you going to help? They are? OK. Marie Curie actually coined the term radioactivity. True or false?
Well, Becquerel discovered it.
But did he call it
radioactivity?
No, but the question is, did Marie Curie
name it radioactivity?
So he discovered it and went,
boring.
What am I going to call this? If only someone would come up with a good name for it.
X-rays. Oh, that is taken.
False, I think.
Okay,
because I think maybe it was coined before.
False.
False. Brains Trust is saying it's false. Stephen, what would you have said?
True.
True is the answer we needed, unfortunately, Brains Trust. Stephen's score remains at 1,200.
Stephen, I'm really intrigued by the notion that when she visited the Americans, they gave her a gram of radium. How do you think that came? Was it shrink-wrapped or was it in a lead box? Or it's kind of an awkward gift, don't you think?
It was in a lead box, but what they actually presented her with was empty. It was locked up somewhere else.
Oh, that's sensible, right, OK. So it was really, she got a voucher for a gram of radium she could redeem, I see. OK, that works better. Sure.
It's not a gift you can re-gift either, is it, really? No. All right. Stephen, 1,200 points at the end of round one. Let's have a look at all the scores now. Norrelle's on 1,000, David's on 1,200 and Stephen's on 1,200. It's time for underprepared school kids' best friend. Multiple choice. How many times did just ticking B, 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 B save your life? That's how Paul got his degree. You're just lucky on the day.
You got the right ticket out the cornflakes packet.
There are 4 questions, 3 chosen by our contestants and 1 chosen by the Brains Trust. All right, the topics tonight are from S to H, packed with goodness, a capital idea, ruining the ending, care factor 0, well-versed in politics, under and out, Freud, and tomorrow the world. David?
Ruining the ending, please.
All right, ruining the ending it is. The question, which character loses his head in the Dickens novel A Tale of Two Cities? Is it A, Sidney Carton, B, Charles Darnay, or C, Dr. Manette? 5 seconds. Brains Trust.
I'll confess straight away that I've not read A Tale of Two Cities, but I have more than once seen the carry-on film Don't Lose Your Head, which covers the same historical period.
I'll be gunning for a French person.
Right, yes, exactly.
Right, so let's narrow it down. Sidney Carlton sounds far too British. So that leaves us with B or C.
Dr. Manette.
Manette.
Darnay is not French.
Would they knock the head off a doctor? Or?
Yeah, sure. They lopped off Voltaire,
both
didn't
doctors,
they?
so you must have felt vulnerable. Well, apparently we're going to go with C, Doctor.
C, Dr. Manette, they say, lost his head. Let's see what our contestants selected. B, C and C. The correct answer is A. Sidney Carton lost his head at the end of Tale of Two Cities.
That's interesting, because Sid James nearly lost his head in Carry On, Don't Lose Your Head.
Norrelle?
Under and out, please.
Under and out it is. The question. Which tunnel was ultimately used by the POWs in World War II's Great Escape? Was it A, Tom, B, Dick, or C, Harry? 5 seconds. Brains Trust. Tom, Dick or Harry?
Do we know? So that there were tunnels under all kinds of stoves and things like
they
that?
had 3 on the go.
I didn't know
One
they
that was
had
at the
names.
sump of a wash basin.
Yes, one was in the wash house. I'm thinking they're men. B, Dick. Thanks, Pete.
They're saying Dick.
He's saying
Well, he's saying Dick. Good Lord. The Brains Trust as a team say Dick. B. Let's see what our contestants selected. A, and B. No one went for it. C, Harry is the answer that we needed. Never mind. Stephen.
A capital idea, thanks.
Capital idea. All right, here we go. Vientiane is the capital city of which Asian country? Is it A, Bhutan, B, Laos, or C, Mongolia? 5 seconds. Brains Trust.
This is one of those things that I covered in primary school geography class and wondered why I would ever need to know what the capital of Laos was. And it's Vientiane. I can just tell you, just like that.
Look at that. See, kids, pay attention in school. You never know when it's going to come back. All right, let's see what our contestants answered. A B, an A, and an A. The correct answer, as Paco quite rightly stated, is B, Laos. Well done, David. You score a point. Now, Brains Trust, it's time for you to turn the tables and choose the subject that takes your fancy.
Packed with goodness.
It's a nice pun.
Care factor 0 works for me.
Shall we go with care factor 0?
All right, let's go.
Freud could get rude.
No, care factor 0.
Care factor 0, please.
Care factor 0 it is. That's the Brains Trust choice tonight. The question, which major nation does not participate in the Eurovision Song Contest? Is it A, France, B, Germany, or C, Italy? 5 seconds. All right, Brains Trust, you chose it. What do you reckon?
I was just going to say, for me, the definition of a major nation is not competing in the Eurovision Song Contest.
I remember watching the Eurovision Song Contest as a kid in France, so it must have included French.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the French are in. I think the Germans are in as well, but I can't recall ever seeing it.
I know the Germans are in because I do remember particularly enjoying the German act one year.
Yes, that's right. They always have those wacky
in the
guys.
white cowboy outfit.
Yeah, they always
very
get. So it
strange.
must be Italy. Then.
Italy, yeah.
They strangely see themselves as being above the Eurovision Song Contest. So C, Peter. C,
All
please.
right, they've gone with C, Italy. Let's see what our contestants selected. C, A, and C. The correct answer is indeed C, Italy. Well done, Stephen and David, getting it right along with the Brains Trust. Let's see where our scores stand at the end of round 2 on tonight's episode of the Einstein Factor. Norrelle's on 1,000 points, Stephen's on 1,250 points, and David's got himself the lead, 1,300 points. Right, before we begin the run home, I want to remind our future junior Einsteins to get their contestant applications in for our 2 Einstein Factor specials. 1 episode for contestants aged 9 to 12 and 1 for ages 13 to 15. Further details are on the website abc.net.au/Einstein Factor. Applications close February the 22nd. Now, it's time to see how much attention our contestants have been paying in life up to this point. We have 15 random questions, including our special who, what, where or when question. All right, good luck, David. Good luck, Norrelle. Good luck, Stephen. Good luck, Brains Trust. Here we go. Which colour vertical stripe on the Italian flag is located nearest the flagpole? David.
White.
Answer's green. Back to 1200. Which spacecraft that landed on Mars is the namesake of a mythical creature and the capital city of the US state of Arizona? Brains Trust.
Phoenix.
Correct. What's the surname of the African-American family at the centre of TV's The Cosby Show? Norrelle.
Huxtable.
Correct. Proposed to stand over a kilometre high, the Nakheel Tower was designed to grace which city in the United Arab Emirates? Norrelle.
Dubai.
Correct. Nowadays, reserved for the drink made in France, the term champagne used to routinely apply to all Australian what wine? Norrelle.
Sparkling.
Correct. 1,300 points in the lead. Having 40 possible combinations is which standard poker hand that ranks higher than 4 of a kind? Norrelle.
Full house.
No, straight flush. Polish-born physicist Marie Curie made her fame and died in which country? Stephen?
France.
Correct, to 1350 in the lead. Norrelle and David both on 1,200 points, snapping at your heels. Suggesting rock star Alice Cooper is no angel is the title of his album Alice Cooper Goes to Where? Brains Trust.
Hell.
Correct. Originated by Native Americans was which ten-a-side sport involving sticks with net pouches at one end? Brains Trust.
Lacrosse.
Correct. Founded by French-born Iranian-American Pierre Omidyar in 1995, was which successful online auction and shopping website? Stephen?
eBay.
Correct. Which Australian state is home to the important wine-growing region of Margaret River? Stephen?
Western Australia.
Correct. It's time for our who, what, when, where question. Here we go. I was built in the 17th century. I'm among the new 7 wonders of the world. I am a white marble mausoleum. I stand, Brains Trust.
Taj Mahal?
Taj Mahal is correct. Well done, Brains Trust. I stand in the city of Agra, India, was our final clue. Back to questions as normal. Among the various support acts that have toured with Alice Cooper has been rock band ZZ What? Norrelle?
Top.
Correct, to 1300. Marie Curie couldn't make it to which European capital to receive her first Nobel Prize in 1903, Stephen?
Stockholm.
Correct. Also, the surname of an Australian Prime Minister of the 60s is what term for the lair of an otter? Brains Trust.
Holt.
Correct. That's the end of the Einstein Factor tonight. Stephen is our winner on 1,650 points. Congratulations, Stephen. Well done. Please also thank our other contestants tonight. David, you finished with a score of 1,200 points. Thank you so much for being a part of the Einstein Factor. And Norrelle, 1,300 points to finish. Thank you for being a part of the Einstein Factor. And Stephen, as I said, 1,650 points. You are on the fixture as a winner, and you will be back in a fortnight at the ABC's pleasure for the playoff. We look forward to seeing you again. And please thank our Brains Trust, won't you? This year shall not weary them, nor the critics condemn. Ladies and gentlemen, Paul Willis, Claire Cresswell, Matt Parkinson. Once again, giving their all. All right, before we ask this week's non-Einstein question, here's last week's answer. The question was, which inanimate object was inducted into the 2008 American Toy Hall of Fame? And the answer, believe it or not, is a stick. I know, don't yell at me. Tonight's viewer question is this. In the past, the kings in some decks of playing cards represented historical figures. Which one was Julius Caesar? The answer can be found on our website, abc.net.au/Einstein Factor, where you can also post your own question, which we indeed may steal and read on air as if it was our own. There's been budget cuts. This has been the Einstein Factor. Join us next week as Benjamin Franklin and Doctor Who see how electricity gave Melbourne its moving icons. Thanks for your company. Good night.
Tonight on ABC2, uncover the mystery of a 15th century painting by Leonardo that was never fully completed and then vanished. Meet the Da Vinci Detective, 8:30 tonight on ABC2.
On Thursday's Catalyst, science meets the art of horse whispering.
This is turbocharged animal behaviour like you've never seen before.
Is there a better way to tame the beasts?
Everyone will be training in this way in 50 years' time.
And extraordinary sights in the deep down under.
That's the alien world that's just been discovered off the south coast of Tasmania.
Australia's premier science program, Catalyst, Thursday on ABC1.